Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. This is August 2023 update, and I'm going to try to breeze through what's going on with the tank. As you can see, not a whole lot. Still continuing to move corals around and find happy spots, and different techniques being used to, try to get that overall aesthetic look where the corals are balanced in terms of growth and color, and then we have a unique looking scape on top of that. The pearlberry in the dead center had to be cut down, and it's used as a bridge between those two islands. So now I have a nice cool cave that's been created. I still have that tabling effect going on in the back there, so that's pretty cool. All right. Okay, next up is random oddball smoothie island and some really fantastic looking corals. I mean, look at those contrasting colors. Even the jaw dropper's growing. Hard to believe that the JD is actually growing. That is a really tough coral. Yeah, so then we pan over and we've got Granulosa Island and a little quick shoot right there. And look at some of them bad boys, huh? That purple candle, dead center. Ari's Avalanche with the Bugatti, and then my favorite right there. We're gonna actually zoom in for it. That's the Pangs purple tip, without a doubt my favorite coral. Okay, so let's pan out. And I've got a little piece of Hungs right there that I'm working on. My buddy Cole brought that over. Shout out to him. What's up, dude? Thanks for the gift along. That Spectral Granulosa from Tim Herman, that's gonna be something special right there. So I'm keeping an eye on her. I also created this little tenuous island right here, so some tenuous action. Tilted Bill Murray, so you can actually see Bill. Bill deserves to be shown. So look at that. So you can still see some nice big tables, some big corals, even though I have them little small guys down on the bottom. And I've had some people chime in with, what's your game plan on all these corals growing out and whatnot. And I've had to say, look, I mean, I'm thinking about that. I've got a prop tank where I still have plenty of room to grow coral. I have an idea for making a more deep water oriented system, a separate system for just the smooth collection. Right down here, I grouped all my millies together too. So you can see them as we kind of look in, and they're looking fantastic. Look at the polyp extension. Okay, so I'm still using Rebiotic, and we'll get more into some products here in a second, but the overall aesthetic of the system is being greatly balanced through that and the addition of the sand in the prop system. So we continue to reinforce the building of the enhancement of the microbiome. Buzzword. This is something that was already a given with Live Rock. We got into that earlier or in the last video, but it's not given anymore. And so we really have to get more creative, and we kind of got into that last time. So this is just an update on this system. And, there's a little bit of stuff that's undesirable looking. It's not a perfect looking reef by any stretch of the imagination. You can see, these rocks down here, they're building up algae and stuff like that. It's on the floor, and I'm kind of letting it just go now at this point, because trying to scrape the glass on the bottom constantly is becoming too much of a chore. All right, so let's jump into some products, because I've had a lot of people asking me, what the hell are you doing to get those colors? Let's jump into it. Okay, so we're back over here, and so let's start off first and foremost with nutrient management. And I have that picture right there. So 2 times a week, I use this pitcher to do nutrient management, and then also dosing the Rebiotic. So this is exactly how I use the Rebiotic, but I use this vessel for a nutrient snow is what I call it, and also a food snow, a coral food snow. So 2 different snows. And so nutrient snow, I'm going to show you how I build that and how I dose it. And then I'm going to show you my food snow and how I build it and dose it. and then we'll jump into a few other random products. All right, so I'll be right back with you. Okay, the first up is not bionic magnesium, but it is actually a calcium carbonate snow, and you can see it's very milky looking. And if you've ever dosed it, it makes your tank really like cloudy for a while. And what it is it's a flocculant, okay? So whatever you're using on the reef, it's gonna help bind and deliver, and it's gonna help it adhere to surfaces, okay? So that is the beauty of it. So I'll let everything like build together with the coral snow. So I'll use 2 caps of that. Tank water right here. I'll put tank water in here. Right here is nitrifying bacteria from Aquaforest. I will use 4 drops of the Bio-S. And then I will use 1 capful of Bactotherapy from Fauna Marin. Now, those 3 products right there combined with tank water, half full of tank water, I let them sit for a half hour to an hour to activate and like basically allow that to marry in with the flocculant, right, the calcium carbonate. And then I dose this usually subsequent to stirring the sand in the prop system and subsequent to brushing like the bottom or anything I'm doing maintenance-wise on the display. I will then dispense this, and I do it 2 days a week, usually somewhere around actinic view on the main display. So as it's going out of its photo period, more into the nighttime. Okay, I mentioned a couple other random products, Flatworm Stop from Coralin and Zook, as well as Sponge Power from KZ. 3 days a week, I use Flatworm Stop. I will fill the cap halfway full, roughly 2 milliliters, 3 milliliters, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I also dose 6 drops at the same time I'm dosing. So I dose those in the morning time, 3 days a week. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, they get dispensed to the reef in the morning before I head out to work. It's pretty easy for me. Again, half a capful and then 6 drops. Again, this is built on 200 gallons and it's under recommendation, way under I mean, when I say way, I mean way under. These products are designed to use daily and at much larger for 200 gallons. So I'm not doing it nearly what it's supposed to be used at. And so keep that in mind when I'm building my program. It's always going to be built fractionally to what's being recommended. And so Flatworm Stop is a tissue builder. It helps to create slime. If you ever have used this product and you take your acros out of your tank and you've used it for long enough, you will notice that they drip and ooze slime. That is what repels the flatworms, and they do not want to munch on tissue when it's heavily coated with slime. So it basically starves them out, and then fish in the system pick them off or whatever. That's generally how this is working. I've noticed, even though I don't have the worms, I continue to dose it because, in my opinion, it aids in the health of the tissue of the coral. Obviously, creating a better slime coat means that it's doing something to help the tissue, so it's an enhancer of that. And I've used it since 2007. Same with Sponge Power, which is more for glowing tips and as well as feeding sponge and tunicates and things of that nature. All of your microorganisms that tend to be working on whatever's available in the water column. Usually that serves as a food to them. So not sure what exactly is in these 2 products, but I do know that they've worked for me. So I will continue to use them, like I said, since 2007. So a very long time. These products have been with me. So next up, we build my food snow. So the first thing that goes in is water, obviously. The next thing that goes in is this Aquaforest Growth Boost. Again, 200 gallons, remember, this is what it's built on. This would call for 8 spoons. I do 6. This is calcium carbonate and amino acids. It's a blend that's designed for growth enhancement. Next, I use 6 drops of the Aquaforest Energy, and this is basically fatty acids, lipids, omegas, as well as a slight hint of copper sulfate. And this is really designed as a food for the corals, for acros specifically. I would say it is almost identical smell and effect of Coral Vitalizer from Coralin and Zucht. So very close. I would imagine if you wanted to know what's in Coral Vitalizer, look no further than what's in AF Energy. 6 drops of that go into that vessel as well. Next up is Rebiotic. That's at a 1/4 teaspoon, and it's because it serves, even though it's a bacteria, it serves as a food to the coral and to the fish. All right, so next up, I've got Fish V. So if you're with Aquaforest and you've used their products, they've got a product called Vitality. Remember, I'm not worried about tissue health. I'm covering that in my Flatworm Stop. But I do believe there's some vitamins in Fish V that are redundant to Vitality, which is by Aquaforest as well. So I put 4 drops of Fish V into the mix, and it is basically targeted for fish health, but I believe vitamins are vitamins, and they're not discriminatory towards fish or corals. So I think it's one of those redundant products, and I use it for a range and a host of vitamins for coral health. All right, so that goes into the mix as well. And then last but not least is the Reef Roids at a 1/4 teaspoon. Now keep in mind, we're going to pan over in a minute to the nutrient control. So while I do have my nutrient control program that we just discussed, I also have a protocol for raising phosphates if necessary. So again, that all gets blended into this pitcher for the food snow that gets dispensed to the reef, lights out. That's Tuesday and Thursday nights. Tuesday and Thursday nights, lights out for coral feeding. Okay, that's the program. So we talked about the nutrient snow program. That's 2 days a week as well. I do that as well. Not the same day. I do that the opposite days on Monday and Wednesdays, and then Saturdays I do rebiotic. All right, and so let's get into that then. So rebiotic calls for 2 days a week. I'm only doing it 1 day a week. It calls for my total system. It would call for 8 teaspoons or 1/4 teaspoons or 2 total teaspoons. I'm using 1.5 teaspoons because I'm using it as a food twice a week in my food snow. I feel like that makes up the other half, and that's on 1 dispense per week. So I do that Saturday, somewhere around Actinic View, 8 o'clock on Saturday nights, and then I keep the skimmer off all night and then turn it on the following morning. That is the only one I disable the skimmer for any length of time. All the others, I usually just disable it for an hour or so. All right, so for phosphate up, because I test every morning at 5:30 a.m., if I need to bring my phosphate value up, then I do so with Seachem Phosphorus Flourish. And I can supplement out 1 milliliter for a 1/4 teaspoon of Reef Roids. So on the day that I do the coral snow, feed snow, I do so with the knowledge that I do not have to supplement phosphorus that day. Most days I'm at least 1 milliliter, sometimes 2 milliliters that I need to dose on top of feeding the whole entire system with the fish food and everything else. So yeah. It's a real thing. They are consuming phosphate, but they're doing it because of the bacteria, and those are the products that we just discussed. And finally, trace. All right, here's how I do trace. 10 milliliters a week, twice a week. I do it on Tuesdays and Thursday a.m., and basically it's at 10 milliliters on the 4-bottle set. If I were to do it according to instructions, I would probably be doing 40 milliliters twice a week, or whatever, 80 milliliters a week total. So I am not a huge fan of trace elements and trace dosing. However, I recognize that they are likely being tugged on to a degree. And as long as I don't see anything funky by dosing these, I'll just continue to dose them blindly, knowing that I'm putting something into the water. So let's wrap this video up with getting a little bit close and personal and showing some of the colors. You know, the colors are definitely there. I'm very grateful and happy that I've been able to achieve some of these colors. You know, keep in mind it's patience and time, and a lot of this is, you know, observation, and that's why that last video that I put out, I just really wanted to talk about, you know, the observation aspect. Some of these corals wouldn't be here with me if I wasn't able to look at them on a day-to-day basis, because they would have been dead, you know. I damn near lost my pink lemonade, and you can see the top of it right there, but I almost lost it. And if I wasn't doing my due diligence with observation, you know, I could have lost that coral, and it's a classic OG coral, you know. I don't want to lose it. So that's pretty much it for this month. It's a little bit longer of an update, but you know, it's these monthly updates. I kind of want to catch you up on what's going on. Finally, just mention, you know, humming along with Kalkwasser. It's still running my reef as far as the chemistry is concerned. I showed you the trace elements to wrap the chemistry aspects up. Everything else is biological at that point. I feed nice and heavy. I'm allowing bacteria to be the transport mechanism for the phosphate. I'm trying to work on continually diversifying and adding more bacteria, especially the probiotic sources. And hopefully it's translating into a clean, healthy, mature-looking reef. So that's it. Thanks for following along. Chat with you soon.